Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the latest MCU installment, the Fantastic Four First Steps. To let you know kind of like where I fall within this, the Fantastic Four films, within the MCU as a whole. I was no one who grew up with the Fantastic Four. They're not kind of like ingrained in my childhood. I had seen the original 2005 film and Rise of the Silver Surfer, but I was like in my 20s by the time those films came out, so it felt like it kind of was a bit too late to really catch me, because I didn't feel like I was kind of like the target audience for that film. And then they tried to reboot it in like 2015, something like that, where they had basically gone from one extreme to the other, where they had gone for quite a dark and quite serious look, and it just didn't kind of work for me because I just felt like, you know, why it's a Fantastic Four kind of thing. So yeah, I've never been really a fan of these movies, or I've never been invested in the lore of the Fantastic Four, so I couldn't really tell you how well this movie captures the comic books. I can only sort of speak from a casual kind of MCU film goer. And yeah, so to get into it, I really enjoyed this movie, because it I'm surprised to kind of almost to hear myself say that, because as somebody who wasn't a fan of the Fantastic Four, and as somebody who had been following the MCU but had kind of fallen out a bit, got a little bit sort of fatigued with the MCU, to a point where I know like a lot of other people were feeling that way too, and it got to a point where even Marvel kind of like have kind of like acknowledged this and sort of tried to make waves recently to kind of rectify this. And I think this very much represents a turning corner for them, because yeah, this just feels like a breath of fresh air. And you know, as somebody who wasn't a fan of the Fantastic Four and had been fatigued by the MCU, I was not expecting the Fantastic Four to be the movie that kind of actually breathed new life into this, to the MCU, and kind of like make it feel fresh again. But it totally does. It totally works. It does feel like a very much a breath of fresh air. It has just that unique aesthetic to it, that 60s, 50s, 60s Jetsons kind of style aesthetic. I really liked it. Just made it feel fresh. You get a fair amount of space travel in here. You get some great action sequences. You just get and it just feels like one of the most cohesive movies as a whole. And I think the thing that really kind of like allows this movie to succeed is that it very much allows itself to, for the most part, not really bother with any of the stuff of the MCU, that it takes place on this alternative Earth, so it doesn't have to entangle itself with anything of the MCU. It doesn't have to bother setting other things up. It doesn't get bogged down with any of this. It can just tell this own unique, self-contained story, and as a result, it just, you know, to kind of answer a common question where people, maybe newbie fans, come into an MCU film and they go, well, what do I have to watch before this film? The answer in this case is nothing. There's no MCU property that you have to watch to kind of before you go into this movie. It's you can just totally go into this movie and just enjoy it for what it is, and that is so refreshing. And I think the cast does a really good job here. The only bit of lore that I can kind of comment on, I know that Johnny's character is kind of portrayed as kind of a womanizer, and they dial back on that quite a bit here. Not to erase it altogether, they totally acknowledge that he likes women, and he's. But it's kind of like just acknowledging conversation. There's nothing really overt here. You don't get any sort of examples to the extent of the Chris Evans version here with the nurse and the womanizing and all that. You don't really get anything that over here. They do dial it back, and rightfully so, because I just feel like if they hadn't done that, it would have felt a bit out of place with this in what they're kind of going for with this movie, because what you really get with this movie is you get this very Saturday matinee type feel. It feels very much very similar to what people have been saying about another superhero movie that recently got released. It feels very much a lived-in universe. It feels very much a comic book brought to life, in the sense that all this fantastical stuff just happens, and everybody has just kind of accepted that this stuff happens, and everyone just kind of goes along with it, and you're just there for the ride, so you don't really it doesn't get bogged down with setting anything too much up, or setting these characters or this universe up, or anything like that. You are just able to go along and for this ride, and I just really like that. And yeah, like I said, you get these space travel sequences, which are just, I think, work just really well as well. And yeah, but it also kind of is telling this very much a story of about family, and this kind of becomes an integral part of the plot and the themes that it's going for. So you see a lot of Fantastic Four very much kind of very together as a unit in this film. You don't see too much of them kind of venturing off, doing their own sort of escapades, but you kind of just they are very much kind of together as a unit, and it's kind of reinforcing that idea and the commentary and the themes that it's kind of making on family here. So it does a really good job of that, and it just feels, like I said, just one of the most cohesive of the MCU properties. And that we've seen in a while, possibly, maybe. I don't even think it's total hyperbole to say that this is one of the strongest MCU films we've seen since the Infinity Wars, and since Endgame. So it just kind of. So yeah, it just felt really fresh, and I just liked almost everything about this movie. To answer a question, another common question that people have is about the post-credit scenes and mid-credit scenes, and you do get both here. There is a mid-credit scene, there is a post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene is definitely the most significant one, the one you want to be sticking around for. Because while it does take place, like I said, in this very self-contained world, and it doesn't get bogged down with any MCU kind of baggage. There is a teaser in the mid-credit scene about where it's kind of going, and it's the only time when it does kind of acknowledge this bigger universe of the MCU, and give a teaser to where things are going. The post-credit scene is a lot less significant. It's just this fun anecdotal thing where, you know, you don't necessarily have to stick around for, you know, so if by the time the credits are rolling, if you're desperate for the loo, or you just need to shoot off for whatever reason, you can go and you're not going to really miss out on anything really significant, because yeah, that mid-credit scene is a more significant part. But yeah, if I had to nitpick negatives, I'd say that there's just a few CGI shots that just don't fully work here. I could elaborate on that with actual examples, but I feel we would be getting more into kind of specific plot details and spoilers. Yeah, there's bits of that, but you know, I felt like could have been polished, you know. But on the whole, guys, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought this was a really strong entry, and like I said, I think that it's also encouraging that it's kind of come about really also by Marvel kind of acknowledging the criticisms that have been aimed at it during the last phase. So I think with this, and you know, with a Superman film as well, it finally feels like there's reason to feel positive and optimistic about the superhero genre again. You know, it feels like there's suddenly been a bit more life, and it's been kind of revitalized a little bit more. And yeah, it just like I said, the fact that it's kind of like come about from kind of Marvel kind of conceding some of the criticisms that have been aimed at it, you know, and kind of rectifying that and turning this corner. Yeah, I think it's there's reason to feel optimistic about the MCU again. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes from here on out. But yeah, gotta say, yeah, really solid film. Would really recommend watching this while it's still in theaters, because yeah, it does very much have that kind of Saturday matinee blockbuster kind of feel to it. So if you're going to watch this movie for the first time, then definitely worth seeing on the big screen, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to like this video and want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below to let me know what your thoughts are. Have you seen this movie? What did you think? If you haven't seen it, what's your hype level for this movie? What's your take on the MCU and the Fantastic Four in general? You know, and yeah, all that fun stuff. Let me know down below in the comment section. And until next time, I will see you guys again on the next video. Thank you. Bye.